Alright, what is going on, guys? My name is Leo Master. Welcome back to another Overwatch League video, and today I'm going to bring something pretty interesting, pretty new of an idea. I'm going to see how it works out with this one video and see what others I could do in the future. I do have another team planned, but I want to wait and see how this video does. Kind of an experiment kind of video. So basically, all I'm doing is ranking every player on a roster worst to best, and the first team that came to my mind was the Los Angeles Gladiators, so I wanted to do that team first. And as the obvious thing I gotta put in here is every player on this roster is fantastic. They're all good players. They're not one of the worst players in the league. Keep that in mind. They're all good players. They're all top tier players, probably B and up, A and up, some even S tier players. So please keep that in mind. I'm not saying they're awful players. They just, when I look at the roster, you can rank them pretty low. Now to the first player I'm going to be mentioning. It is Skewed at the very bottom, and like I said already, he's a good player. He's not going to be one of the worst players in the league. Just compared to everyone else on this roster, he's going to be at the bottom. And the reason I actually have him as the worst, because he probably won't have a lot of starting time. The only time he will be starting or ever in a game really is going to be in the double flex support meta with the BAP, the Zen, the Ana, all of those kind of metas. We'll see him being played a lot more, and also if Shu is ever on the bench or not feeling well, if anything bad is happening to Shu, Skewed is probably going to be in the roster and playing. And in general, I think he will be a good player coming in the next year. We just haven't seen him prove himself yet, and I definitely think next year he will prove himself, hopefully. Maybe start over some games of Shu, depending on who they go against, and also look really impressive in the double flex support meta, so we can go to another team. And that may be the case, maybe not. We'll see what happens with him. He definitely needs to prove himself before I rank him any higher coming into this roster. So I do got to say, he probably is the lowest ranked player on this roster, but like I said already, he is not an awful player. Please keep this in mind. Then on to the next one. I am ranking Mirror as the second worst. Now, once again, when it comes to Mirror, when you have Kevzer on your team, it's going to be very hard to show your skill, because Mirror, he showed potential moments last year with his Pharah, his Junkrat, and even some supports like Brig and maybe even Zen occasionally. But when it came to Kevzer in the lineup, majority of the time, Kevzer was just one of the best flex DPS players last year, and it was very hard for Mirror to actually reach up to those levels. But I do think Mirror will probably have some moments once again coming into this next roster, maybe finding a rotation with Kevzer, maybe even Birdring, so we can show that he is a good player. And if he does that, hopefully he goes to a different team, because I think he will be majority of the time on the bench for this guy. But anything is possible. He could easily play maybe some hardcore Doom metas or any meta that really fits him instead of Kevzer, but that'll be a wait and see moment. But I do think Mirror is good on a certain level. Then on to the next ranking I have here. And I do have an explanation why he's so low. It is Muse. As much as I've hyped this guy up, I do got to put him somewhat low in the middle, because we have not seen him prove himself yet. You know, we've heard up and down things of Muse, mostly good things though, but we do not know how he's going to perform just yet in the league. I do think he will perform. I'm just waiting to see if he will actually perform and be a top main tank for this team. You know, not risking anything, not kind of like OG where we think it's going to be good and ends up not being so good as we thought it was going to be. But majority of the reason we use is low because the people above him have already proved himself for many years now, or just in a couple of months. We have not seen Muse in the league just yet, but I do think he is going to be one of the best main tanks coming in the next year. But I had to put these other players above him just because of these players being in the league longer and just in general when it comes to LA Gladiators. Then on to the next one I am ranking. It is Birdring, and Birdring, may I say, he's been an interesting player with the Los Angeles Gladiators and just in the past before, but mostly the LA Gladiators has probably been his best year right now because he's been so consistent compared to other years he's been in the league with London Spitfire. He really brought that hits gameplay back with the Gladiators and really helped his team out. Now, I did think about putting this guy up one more, but I decided to put him where I put him now. But I do think Birdring will hopefully be consistent once again. You know, I watched the DPS video. He was saying Birdring's not playing the game, but hopefully Birdring is playing the game. He has been playing the game. I've been seeing him in ranked as well. But I do think Birdring is a good spot right here in my worst to best ranking. Then on to the next one. I have put Kevzer down. Now, I know for some people are going to argue Kevzer should be higher, and I fully understand that. I've been putting Kevzer up and down all over this list, and I think I'm really comfortable right here. Kevzer had a couple of months to perform in the Overwatch League, and may I say, he is definitely one of the best flex DPS players just in those couple of months, and he was also on ping. So hopefully this upcoming season, he won't be on such a bad ping compared to what he was last year, and I definitely think we will see the case with that. And now that he's going to be in the league fully, I think we'll see even a better Kevzer. He's going to be working with the team from the start, and just him hopefully having no ping will be a massive improvement, and I hope we get to rank him even higher on this list maybe next year if I want to do this video again. But I do think Kevzer is a definite standout flex DPS coming in next year. Definitely one of the best players on this roster, hands down, especially one of the more consistent parts and one of the more high tier performers, playmaker all around. Very flexible of a player next to even Flutta. This guy plays a lot of the hit scan, a lot of projectiles, and maybe he even plays some of the supports I have not seen yet. He's a very, very flexible player, and that will be a huge advantage when it comes to any game, any meta for this team, because they have Kevzer. We've seen this guy perform on the Widow, on the Tracer, and also Doom and Genji and Fair. We've seen this guy perform on so many heroes in the league already, but we've also seen him perform on a lot of more other heroes and contenders on top of this. And also, if you watch him occasionally on stream, maybe even run into him on ranked. Then on to the top 3, and number 3 for me is going to be Space. Space has been a top performer in the league for years. We cannot ignore that. Even on the LA Gladiators, yes, it may have been a tiny bit up and down compared to usual, but he's also playing with OG, and that roster all around was somewhat inconsistent and did not perform to expectations. And Space performed to his expectations, a top-tier off-tank player, playing all the off-tanks at a super high level coming in the LA Gladiators last year. He did that. He worked really well with OG, what he could do, and now he's going to come in the next year with Muse, a player that really fits his playstyle, and also with the supports around him with Shu and Moth. This guy's going to pop up even more next year, and hopefully it's going to be his best year, because Season 1, Season 2, LA Valiant were some of his best years, and LA Gladiators was a really good year for him as well. So this guy covers a lot of all the off-tanks, very high level, and I definitely think he'll do the same once again with the LA Gladiators. Then on to number 2, I had to write Shu down. Shu has been one of the best flex sports ever since he joined back in Season 2. On the Zen, on the Ana, on the Baptiste last year. Definitely a playmaker on the Baptiste. When all of his team died, he used the window on himself and just helped his team win multiple fights because of this. And his lamp usage, great. Doesn't miss a beat on those lamps. Shu all around, one of the more aggressive flex sports in the league, a bloodthirsty flex sport, a playmaker of a flex sport that will really help this team with Muse. On top of this, with his Ana play, will really help out Muse, and even Space on top of this. I think Shu's going to be an insane part of this upcoming LA Gladiators roster, and I had to rank him really high because of this. Now, I know a lot of people expected this one, so number 1 is going to be Moth. What is there to say bad about Moth? This guy is a back-to-back champion, the best main support in the league, the best shot caller in the league. This guy is everything you want in the main support player that can change his playstyles mid-game to a passive or aggressive, and that even goes on his Mercy, one of the best Mercies in the league, if not the best. And his Lucio has a really unique playstyle. Then you have his Brig. You even have him playing BAP if they need Moth to play BAP. So Moth, very flexible on all the supports in the game. With this, he even plays an Ana. Very flexible of a main support player, which you want, like I said already, on the top of stats every time. And all around, Moth is just a top performer when it comes to the Overwatch League. Now he's bringing this to the Los Angeles Gladiators. Gonna bring what he had on the Shock to this team. Maybe help out DPay, the coach is there, what Krusty taught him, and he'll bring it to DPay and the team around him. So Moth is going to be a massive part into the Los Angeles Gladiators next year. He is definitely going to change his team by a lot, like FD God is on the Shock as well. So Moth, I'd love to see what he does with the LA Gladiators. Definitely going to change his team. Definitely going to give some tips to his teammates around him that change their play style or play a certain way like the players on the Shock did. And that's another reason why Moth is one of the best main support players in the game. He helps his teammates around him, and he will do anything to help him get better, and Moth is that. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the first video ranking every player on a roster, worst to best. What are your guys' thoughts on this video? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I'm just going to experiment with this one video for now and see what we have in the future. I won't do all the teams if y'all do like it. I'll probably do maybe 10 teams. If y'all do like it, I'll probably do all the teams, but we'll see what happens. I wanted to experiment. You know, we're kind of getting close to the season, but there's nothing really happening right now. Anyways, guys, it's going to be it for me. If you guys want to stay more in tune with Overwatch League news and Overwatch League stuff in general, don't forget to subscribe down below. Also, don't forget to join my Discord down below as well, and don't forget to follow my Twitter and my Twitch, and don't forget to hit that bell, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.